okay. Absolutely okay.
Hello all, welcome to SchoolViz, your online learning platform for your 9th and 10th preparation. Today we have in our segment of Guidance Gappa, Dinisha Bharadwaj madam. Dinisha Bharadwaj, or Captain Dinisha as you can call her, is part of the Indian Army. She's one of the first few female officers to have joined the army. Currently, she is residing in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, where she is working in the field of education. First of all, ma'am, I welcome you to our platform of SchoolViz and our segment of Guidance Gappa. Could you just give us a brief idea about your journey in terms of personal and professional life into this field?
Thank you, Mr. Akshay. Good morning from Captain Dinisha. As he introduced, I am Captain Dr. Dinisha Bharadwaj Singh. Always will be part of Indian Army because once an officer, always a soldier. And I served Indian Army for 10 years. I was fortunate enough to join Indian Army from that level where Army started intake of lady officers. So I was privileged enough to pioneer the field along with my friends, and then served for 10 years. After that, policies took their own time, and I moved to education sector. Did my PhD from North Indian Education. I'm so sorry. Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, and that is how it brings me to education sector, and it's a very, very pleasing place to be, because there we get chance to interact with people like you, young brains, where whatever best we can think, aspire and dream further can be nurtured in grooming young children. So that is where I am as far as my professional journey is concerned.
Okay. Ma'am, I'll straight come to the point. So first, just give me an idea of how did you get into the army? Was it a planned decision on your end, or did certain thing happen in your life where you thought that yes, I want to get into the army
now? Very important question, because certainly we desire something and we aspire. I'm sure all these young children also must be desiring and aspiring something in life. And my desire was to wear uniform. But then, and that was from very childhood. I used to watch a TV serial where this girl wears uniform and all. So that developed a desire to wear uniform. But then there was no scope of being part of Indian Army or any armed forces for that matter, because there was no such entry that time. And I thought of being an IPS officer. So I was studying, and then I saw that this scope is also open. So in a very young age, I thought, let me try. And though a new field, many things were not clear, even the longevity of service was not clear, but I was determined enough, and there was a support from family. So I thought, because no training, nothing I took, and I just thought, let me try, because I want to wear uniform. So fine, if not khaki, then it can be olive green. And I'm there.
Ma'am, actually, when you said support of the family, I think that is a very instrumental role that must have played in your life while preparing for this exam. Since, at that time, it was not a convention of women getting into the army. So this brings me to my next question is, when you were preparing for the SSB, okay, since you had a dream since childhood to wear a uniform, you were preparing for SSB and IPS and all. What kind of a career journey did you take after your 10th? What are the steps that you took, towards this goal? Or was it later on that you decided to take steps towards this goal?
See, when I was a student, unlike a present era, this exposure to the entire world was not that much. With the internet in, everybody knows what are the scopes and what are the possibilities where you can go, and much beyond. That time it was just newspaper or people who come and brief you and update you. So not much of a kind of clarity was there as to where you want to go. And there were few careers which were like doctor, engineer, lecturer, police officer, civil services, like that. So when starting from 10th, as the question starts, starting from 10th, I actually didn't think of, but that time my aim was that I should do my good. And I worked hard, I did my good. Till 10th, the things were good. When I came to 12th, some certain things in back of my family which can actually help you to remain motivated, mainly few of you who are somewhere having some of the other struggle in life. My dad was a doctor, and but then one thing which I want to express here is my parents generation and my generation, somehow there is a gap of 20 years or something, because we were very late born, almost after 19-20 years of their marriage. So there was a gap, and they were old enough, and that is a long story somewhere else on some forum. But then he was not keeping well, and he fell sick.
Okay.
So in 12th, I actually couldn't do well. Because during that time when preparatory leave is there, I was shuttling up and down to take care of him. I was the older child in family, and so I couldn't do well in 12th. But then one strong desire and confidence was in my mind. Fine, if I couldn't do well, that time my requirement up and do something, because there was a requirement to stand for the family. I felt so. Nobody told me that, but I felt so. So, but then there was a very, very high level of confidence which was there in me, and that dream of wearing uniform had already come in. But I didn't work anything towards that. Only the thing was, whatever was in my control was I should study my best, and second thing was I should do best to reach that destination. That time clarity was complete your graduation and then move further. So that is what I was doing. I took admission doing my graduation, and then post graduation, partially when I was doing my post graduation, halfway through or maybe little ahead of that, then I saw this advertisement for army, and I filled in. I didn't know how the testing would happen and what will be the further path, but that is where a path was visible to me.
Okay. Could you elaborate? What was your graduation? Hello?
Yes, my graduation was physics, chemistry, maths.
Okay.
I did my BSc, and I did my post graduation in physics, electronics.
Okay. Okay. Now coming to the question of the exams, you just saw the ad, you filled the form, and you went for the exam. A lot of students do not know what is the exam. So I wanted to talk about the CDS exam that is there. Okay. So what are the branches that you can get into through CDS, and how can you apply for CDS, and what is the eligibility according
to you? I mean, I'll go a step back to join Indian Armed Forces. There are many entries nowadays, but right now, like your question restricts to one entry, I'll talk about 2 entries mainly. Otherwise, there are say 4 entries. I mean, the direct ways which are available and visible to students. One entry is you join through National Defense Academy, where you join after 12th. Science background should be there, and then there is an exam. You appear for that, and then finally there is SSB, that is Service Selection Board, which is compulsory to join all defense forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, any defense force you join, you have to go through for the Service Selection Board, which is highly standardized exam across the globe. I will big bold highlight. This is highly standardized exam. In multiple zeros and points, you will find an aberration. Otherwise, what you are judged for, you are there. That is what your personality is. So SSB one has to clear after appearing for this NDA exam. And there the venues are open for you to choose any field, that is Army, Navy or Air Force. Second entry is direct entry, which you can go through like after completing your graduation. Minimum qualification is graduation, and the entry is the CDS exam, which is called Combined Defense Services Exams. This Combined Defense Services Exams is there is a prescribed syllabus for that, where you appear for this exam, but qualifying the exam doesn't make you that you are qualified to join army. After that, you have to go through SSB.
Okay.
And the service selection board again remains the same process. I'll tell about the service selection board little later. So after this SSB, then you are there, and then you become part of direct entry. Direct entry is again of two types. One is direct entry where you join permanent commission,
Okay.
which is there, the training academy is there in IMA, Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. Or there is another academy which takes you for short service commissioned officer, and that is their officers training academy, Chennai, where I was trained.
Okay.
There is one more entry which is called university entry, where if you are an engineer, technical entry, that is basically a technical entry where you are picked up, even you join as kind of you join there and then you do engineering. And second part of that is that you are already qualified and then you become part of Indian Army. Another entry is as doctor. If you are a medical officer or you are aspiring doctor, there are seats in AFMC when you appear for medical exam. Or if you become after that you want to join, that time you can join as a direct entry officer in medical services. Okay. So these are various entries for armed forces.
Okay. Okay, that was a very lucid explanation that you gave me of all the various types in which you can join the armed forces. Now, coming to the CDS, the pattern has changed. I'm sure, you know, when you gave now, there must be a bit of difference. So I'll directly come to the SSB, which is something everyone is curious about who's studying or preparing for this exam. So what is the SSB, and can you give us a detailed, elaborate of your experience in, of going through the SSB?
Well, this actually is a very, very important, though every question is important, because we can prepare for CDS, we can prepare for all the entries. We have to have a personality for SSB. There is a difference in understanding. SSB is a test where your personality is tested on 4 different platforms. Now, what are these 4 different platforms? The process, absolute 4 days from early morning till evening, you are being tested. Now, what are these 4 tests? One test is conducted by psychologists besides the screening test, where you are taken through a simple sequence of tests which includes your reasoning, which includes your basic level of English, basic level of current affairs.
This thing, right? Besides
part of SSB, but
okay.
Part of SSB, but part of the screening in the beginning.
Achha.
And then simultaneously, this is also coupled with test or the sequence of tests which are kind of, you can say, tests for your psychology, the kind of bent of mind you have. That is one testing. Second process of testing is GTO, that is the ground, that is group task officer. There is an officer with you and he will be there for 3 days with you throughout after first day. And then there are certain ground tasks, there are certain processes which you go through, there are certain group and individual activities. Again, this gentleman is also testing you for your bent of mind, what psychological testing is happening. The way psychological testing is happening, same way the second testing is happening. One thing I'm missing on to tell you, when you enter, you fill a form narrating about yourself, your likes, your dislikes, your personality. That form, number 1. Number 2, the psychology officer. Number 3, the GTO, that is group testing and ground testing officer, ground task officer. He's testing you. And there are multiple tasks where your personality is tested. Simultaneously in this test, through the GTO testing, you go for group discussion, you go for lecturates. In psychological tests, you're writing stories in a very short time period, you're making sentences. Everything is, because when you have less time to think, you come out with original personality.
True.
So these are the 3 ways. last is the president of that service selection board, the officer of rank of a brigadier. He would interview you.
Okay.
And when he will interview you, he will make you so comfortable, and then he will ask you questions, which again are, the form is with him. That form which we filled in is with him. So based upon that, he's asking you questions, and he's also testing your personality.
Okay.
So this four-fold test, ultimately final day for the final day after these 4 days, all of them, they sit down together. And in case all of them clear you, then you are clear.
Okay.
In case 2 of them clear you and 1 doesn't, then there is a conference where you are called. All of you are called in that conference room, and you are made to sit down, like 5-6 people are sitting on board, and you are sitting there. And if 2 of them clear you and 1 does not, they leave a chance to ambiguity, and they will try to test you that time with some similar question pertaining to the doubt for what you were not cleared. And then you're off. If more number of people have not cleared you and 1 has cleared you, then you are not selected. So this is the process of SSB, where you go through this tough process of, there is a lot more in detail. Because there is a limited time, so I'm not able to actually take you through the journey of SSB. There is a detailed process of service selection board, where different people are testing you through different modes, but for one thing, and that is your persona, your personality. Okay. How much capable you are, how much confident you are, how much vibrant you are, and how much dedicated and honest you can be to a given service, as far as the uniform services is concerned. So this is the 4-day process of testing, where you are tested by various people through different modes, but one thing is only tested, and that is your personality. If you are done, you are done. If you're not done, you are off. So one thing which I want to say, there are many people who don't clear in one go, and they try, polish multiple times, and then few of them they succeed. But most cases it happens that one could not, then one generally doesn't.
Okay. Beautiful explanation you gave there. One thing that stuck with me is, it is a test of your attitude and personality. So what are the personality traits that they are looking at, and how can one develop them?
Yes, this is very pertinent thing, that how can one develop them and what are the personality traits. See, we all have various facets of our personality. Somewhere it is bound to happen. I'm different to you, I'm different to my family, I'm different to my peer circle, like that. But then this is the presentation of personality. My actual personality remains same. If I'm an honest person, I'll remain honest everywhere. If I'm not an honest person, I will not be honest in any relation. If I'm a dedicated person, I'll be dedicated. Percentage may vary, but the basic quality will remain. So if I answer your question correctly, then in that case, to develop these qualities, if you can be true, honest, and dedicated, in a way, I'll make it more simple, that what you want to see in other person, if the person is employed for you or person is related to you, if you develop the same things in you, then you are through. If you have different facets and manipulate things, if you try to hide a trait of your personality, I'll give you an example. For example, you kind of manipulate things and present in a different way.
Okay.
If you are that kind of person, or if I am that kind of person, and then in that case, I'll write something in psychological test. I think that this is pleasing to him. But that GTO who's testing me for 3-4 days, somewhere the original persona will come when I'm interacting with people, when I'm doing my task. If not here, I've written something else in form. I'll say something else to the president. There maybe, if you are bad, suppose there is something which is not good in you, and if you are consistently not good, then that will be better thing than manipulating yourself. So the required traits, this answers the first question, that how can we, what can we have? Now, how can we develop all these things in us is that we got to be true and honest. I mean, if we actually try to be a good human being, I think that is the best thing which SSB will judge in you. And I'm sure everybody has dedication, everybody has the learning curve, everybody has a wisdom for a certain level to do certain things other than some medical cases. So minus those cases, if we are honest, true, and dedicated to ourselves in our normal routine of life, then I think you will be through. And of course, with little wisdom and little analytical power to participate on in those tests which are being performed. I think with these basic things, there is nothing, no rocket science which is required to be learned in this. It is basic honesty and confidence and individual presentation which will take everyone through this test.
Okay. So you said that, all these traits that are there, which is very helpful. Did you do any special preparation for the SSB in any way when you were selected for the SSB?
Well, I just knew the word full form of SSB.
Oh, okay.
Because I was appearing for, what happened for my case was, as I said, support of my family. Support came subsequently. Initial was the resistance that a girl in army, how she will manage, and more than this, the concern was that it is short service, that she will put in best years of her life, and when the time will come to reap, she will be off, because initially it was just for 5 years, and then it came for 10 years. So that was the major concern. But with that, when I got the call letter for SSB, and I realized that this call letter dates are clashing with my exam dates, I kept it aside. I thought my exams are priority, because test is always a test. You never know whether you are through or not. I kept it aside. Then in one of the conversations with one of my cousins and my dad, it was discussed that it will be a bright thing for her and everything. So I said, no, I have already kept it aside. So maybe, I mean, the date is already over. He said, just see, there is a procedure of absentee batches, where all those who cannot appear for a particular batch, they opt for the last batch of absentee batches, where you go for last SSB. So I picked up, and there was an option. So I immediately, and there was an option to send the consent also. So I immediately sent the consent, and I got a call for absentee batch. And it was like that my exam was over on 14th, and 15th of August I traveled, and 16th I reached, and 17th was the SSB starting. So I just did not know anything about anything required. But I mean, everybody says that I'm very honest and good and true person, but that is what I feel that I projected myself as. And then whatever was required as a talent, probably that was there. With the true presentation, that was done through, that was taken through.
So fate had its this thing. Destiny played a very big role in your career, I can say.
Destiny, you can say, when you aspire something in a very, very strong determination and this thing, the entire universe conspires to take you there. But ultimately, destiny took me to SSB Center. For SSB Center, and followed by that, it was the hard work, and it was the presentation of personality which was built all those years with the help and guidance of my parents, teachers, and people around me, the grooming, and how I took up. Or for that matter, because why I'm telling all this is nothing to do with me, but I don't want these students to take a negative this thing, that it is destiny which takes people through. It is actually what you are, what is your hard work, and what is your personality. You can be taken to the gate of that level, but through that your journey will be actually your hard work, dedication, and the persona which doesn't get developed over a single day.
True. So now moving on to the other aspects of your career in the army. What were the job roles? Can you just give us a brief idea of the job roles that you did? And tell us one moment where you really felt that, yeah, this is the thing that I really wanted to do, and this is so much fun. This is what I was meant to do.
See, I'll start with the last question. every moment I felt this is the place I wanted to be in. Reason being that everywhere you were there all by yourself, taking pride on your heavy shoulders with stars and bearing with the challenges which were there in front of you to tackle. I would also bring in one point for girls, because that time when I joined, it was a new pathway for girls. And anything new, it looks very glamorous to onlookers. It looks very brilliant to people who watch it. And so was the visibility for all of us. We were kind of celebrities, but the path, because you were not only representing your own self, you were representing the organization, you were representing in a large community of women. And if you falter as an individual, maybe a few people will know that Dinisha has faltered, but the world would know that lady officers have faltered. So that way, a lot of responsibility on your shoulders was there, and that was supposed to be taken as forward as legacy for new people to come in. As to what was, I was commissioned into Army Educational Corps. I think something unstable internet is showing. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right. So I was commissioned into Army Educational Corps. What happens is, in case of lady officers, with your qualification and number of vacancies, you are part of a particular service. Lady officers join for services only, not for the fighting arms. So I was part of Army Educational Corps, and there were 2 vacancies, and almost 25,000 plus candidates appeared for this selection board.
Okay.
So the ratio was maybe 1:1,000, 1:25,000, like that. Now coming back into this for the role and all, when you wear uniform, you are trained to do what a uniform person is supposed to do.
True.
And so was the training for everyone. We were supposed to take on when the responsibility to be taken over when it was required. But being part of the Army Educational Corps, my basic responsibility was to take care of any educational role of a particular segment. I had various postings at different places. Few were educational training centers like Indian Military Academy and Rashtriya Indian Military College, Dehradun. And then rest of them were brigade headquarters. Even in JNK, I was posted, and then there was a center, regimental center of one of the mechanized infantry. Mechanized infantry regimental center was there. So there were various roles during that. One basic role, which was to do with education, promotion cadres, and any school coming under the jurisdiction of that armed force network, which was including Kendriya Vidyalayas, which was including army schools, which was including any regimental school. That was one of the basic part of it. But beyond that, whatever was the requirement of that particular organization, if I was in Kashmir, I was taking reports, I was going on security checks, I was going with people for all kind of responsibility works. I was part of Operation Rakshak. In Punjab, when I was posted, Sansad attack happened, so Operation Parakram started. I was very active part of Operation Parakram, worked with people there. So in nutshell, when you get commissioned or you join armed forces in any of the positions, there you have a dual responsibility. One is, of course, the primary responsibility for which you are selected, and then it is you are an officer or you are a uniform person, where if there is a requirement, you got to do that. I was in charge of rear headquarter all by myself in JNK. So with that, I was the security in charge of my garrison in Punjab, where this Operation Parakram started. So there I'm giving 2 different brackets. One was the education sector, one was all by myself. I was in charge of the safety security of entire rear headquarter, which contained many people, and the entire headquarter when the movement of that particular unit took place to a different location.
Okay.
We stayed in tents, we stayed in tinned accommodation, and we stayed in big bungalows. So that
Okay.
is what diversity and personality which Indian Army gives you.
Okay.
I hope that clears your question.
Yeah. So, you just said that you traveled across India, you stayed in so many places, you met so many people, you performed so many roles. So, what are the values according to you that this job has taught you? So, 10 years back, probably before the services and after the services, what is the difference between Dr. Bidisha then and what Dr. Bidisha after the services?
One thing which I was forgetting, being part of Indian Army, and when I was a student. When I was a student, as I said, I was a science student. I was rarely into sports or rarely into physical activities or anything because I was a brilliant student as per school. So they didn't allow me to participate in any such thing. And I also made it a motto, then scoring is very important for me. But when I joined Indian Army, that forum was open to me and I did whatever came my way. I'm a trained paraglider, and I took special training for rappelling, rock climbing, and all such activities to do with the mountaineering. Then again, it is showing. Okay, so with that, I did whitewater rafting with the officers of British Army, almost 70 kilometers from Dev Prayag to Rishikesh, Shivpuri rather. And then a lot of trekking, camel expedition on desert.
Hello.
So this is Indian Army, and which I could do. And a lot of other adventure activities, whatever came my way, I did that. Now coming on to exactly answering your question as to what is the difference between Dinisha and Captain Dinisha, right?
Yeah.
Right? This was the question?
Yeah. That Dinisha and Captain Dinisha. What is the difference between the two?
So the difference between Dinisha and Captain Dinisha is one. Yes, the difference between Captain Dinisha and Captain Dinisha is just simple one. And then I'll tell you what Captain Dinisha holds and wants to give it to world. I'll add to it. And then after I was emotionally kind of very, very emotional person. I was missing my people. I was very upset when I traveled for the first time. I felt scared. Oh my God, I'm traveling alone. And now I have made that emotional weakness.
Ma'am, I can't hear you. You're bad.
That's my strength.
Ma'am.
Because now I have emotional weakness, and this relation. Give a pause, then probably we'll catch.
Yeah, you were telling me, ma'am, about Dinisha and Captain Dinisha, the difference between the two. Hello?
Is it okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Right. So the difference between Dinisha and Captain Dinisha is the emotional, small emotional person converting into an emotionally intelligent person.
Okay.
Because I was the one who was very upset during my training. There were some more reasons, but then one was that I was emotionally kind of missing my people, and then I used to feel scared of doing something alone, traveling or something. But that was just a pause of 6 months or something. After that, I developed this, and now Captain Dinisha is there, who takes this emotional, being emotional, or if I can be bold enough to say emotional weakness, to being emotionally intelligent person. I help people who are emotional, and also I can see the emotional requirement in a person, and I act accordingly. So that has developed into a strong emotional wisdom, That is the only difference. Other than that, I think when we connect and move forward with all these strengths and capabilities, another difference is that when we are young, we aspire for all good, everything, all good, and we are not ready to take negative or bad or something, or not so brilliant. As I said, I stayed in tents. I sat down on road and ate, and I sat down in hotels and ate. To me, nothing makes a difference. This is a message I would give to all the spectators, all the people who are listening to it, that adaptability, high level of adaptability, and a brilliant confidence in worst situations. That is what is I want to give it to you all.
Okay.
That it is not only best thing which will make you sparkling, it can be sometimes worst situation. Just be happy and do your best, and then everyone will be able to come out with best outcomes. That is the takeaway from my side to everyone.
Okay. So that is something. Emotional intelligence is something which is very much needed. I think this thing trained you for it. Now, coming to a few last questions that are there. You left the SSB, the services, after your short service commission and got into a private thing. So what are the prospects for an army officer or a ex-army officer in the private job that is there, or private field that is there? What are the certain profiles that are open for him, and what are the growth prospects?
Let me tell you one thing. Once you become an officer, you serve as an officer, there are brilliant opportunities waiting for you outside. People have a lot of respect for service officers. Depending upon your interest, you can go to corporate sector, management. You can, if you are a legal officer, then a lot of opportunities are there in legal segment. If you're a medical officer, you are there to lead the medical world. Because one thing which one develops, or it gets developed in armed forces, is that you are able to handle any situation at any point of time. Believe you me, that is the capability which develops in you, because you go through all kind of situations. What else? When you go so close to death, when you go and you don't know whether you come back or not. True. When you leading your people in corporate sector, we are leading our people for appraisals, for increment, where we are in services, where we are leading our people, come and die with us. When you work in that environment, from top to high level of achievement, to that level when the person is ready to go and mentally ready not to come back, with that attitude, all uniform people are leading wherever they step onto. You choose your interest. Believe you me, if you serve for short service and you select your field, whichever field you select, I'm telling you, nothing can stop you to reach to the top position in that.
Yeah, true. Matlab, you can put it this way, that in the army, goli ka dar hai, yahan pe sirf loss ka dar hai.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
These two
dar
things
bhi
are...
nahi hai wahan pe.
Yeah,
absolutely. Dar, let me tell you, dar bhi nahi hai. People are ready. You go through the history of our martyrs. Recently, we are onto that Kargil celebration. This thing, it's easy for us to talk and boast and all, but actually, many of them, because many of them were my close friends, very close friends. We lived together, we worked together, we enjoyed together, and nice, happy-go-lucky people. But then they are there, and they were there, and they are not there today. And their families are there, happily or not happily, but they have sacrificed them. So with this attitude, believe you me, after defense forces, anywhere you go, choose your interest, and sky will be the limit for you.
Okay. So ma'am, thank you for your time. I just wanted to ask a last question. What would your message be for students or children who are maybe 16 to 18 year olds, right now, and especially girls? What would your message be for them?
Hi friends, The question is that my message to 16 to 18 years, that is from 10th to 12th most likely, my message is believe in yourself. First, dream starts in your mind, to your heart, and then gets into your mind again to make it active. So start dreaming with open eyes. Serving the nation or wearing uniform or not, there is no embargo. Whatever you like, choose your passion, work hard. So one thing is decide your dreams, plan your day, start working towards your dreams, because it is not that you imagine and then you will it will lead to your dreams. When you imagine, your first day of work is now, today. Start working towards it, and the destination will be yours. One very important thing is have confidence in yourself. You may be from various backgrounds. You may be from a not so lucky background, or you may be from a background where you're having silver spoon in your mouth, but ultimately it is you and only you who can decide your destiny, because your background gives you the background visibility only. Your foreground can be created by you. If you have everything, that is not yours, because it is up to you where you will take it. If you don't have anything, then also it doesn't make a difference, because if you create everything here, you will reach to a position where you will create everything not only for you, but for everyone around you. Just follow your passion, be honest, follow your dreams, and destiny will take a turn as per your wish. With this, lot of best wishes, all the best. I am sure everyone has some dream. Take it, chase it, and win it. God bless you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot for this inspiring message and this insightful session that we had today. I'm sure, a lot of our viewers would be inspired by it, and they'll get the motivation and the train of thought for working or for going into the Indian Army, or for thinking of a career in the Indian Army. Thank you for your time, ma'am, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Okay, and that's it from our end, guys. Schoolwiz, this is every Saturday we will be posting a video with various different luminaries who've made a career in different fields, which will give you insights into it. Our first lecture was with Dinisha ma'am. Okay, thank you for being our first speaker, ma'am, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. Good day and best wishes to everyone. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, guys, that was Dinisha ma'am for you. A great lecture that we had with her. Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Press the bell icon so that you can be updated about the new videos that we are putting on the channel. Also, if you want any specific video from our end, please write it in the comment box below, and we would be happy to make it for you with that person or with that specific field luminary that is there. Once again, thank you for watching this video, and until next time, goodbye. Hey guys, I hope you liked the video a lot. The entire description and the PDFs for eligibility and paper pattern has been given in the description box below. You can download it from there. Apart from that, like our Facebook page as well, because we post a lot of updates over there which can be useful for you. Hope you've liked this video, and again I'm telling you, please comment in the section. Let us know what you feel. Let us know what you want more, so that we would be happy to give it to you. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, goodbye.